I had to specify biscuit joints again last week, a basic century-old way of connecting two pieces of wood together without screws or nails. I had to call it out, draw it, and ask for it specifically, because if I didn't, the default would have been a couple of screws and a line of glue. This is what happens across the entire market here by default. Joinery work done quickly. Screws and nails and adhesive, instead of the joints that craft what is actually built on. Dovetails, mortise and tenon, dowels, biscuit. The joints that hold a piece of furniture together for 100 years instead of just 10. And before anyone says it, yes, most joinery now is made with MDF and veneer, and not solid wood. That's fine. MDF is stable, it's cost effective, and using less hardwood is, on balance, the more sustainable choice. I specify MDF and veneer constantly. The substrate isn't the problem. The joints are. You can build a beautiful, long-lasting piece of joinery that's made from MDF and veneer if the joints are right. Doweled carcass corners, biscuit joined shelves into the uprights. The joint is independent of the substrate, and it's the joint that decides how long the piece lasts. And it isn't a question of skill. The teams that I work with are very good with their hands. The problem is that nobody insists on these joints anymore. The default has shifted. Cheap is fast, and fast is the standard. And the dovetail isn't slow exactly, it just isn't the first option anymore. And unless someone asks for it, you don't get it. So I ask for it every time on every project. When I'm working on a kitchen with a heavy run of pullouts, I specify dowel joints in the carcass corners. When the project is a built-in bookcase or a wall of cabinetry, I specify biscuit joints where the shelves meet the uprights. When the cabinet has framed panel fronts and the joints will show, I specify the joint, the spacing, the orientation of the wood. I send the drawing, and then I sit in the workshop with the joinery team and walk through it, all of it, in painstaking detail. It takes longer. It costs more. I'm not naive about either, but the joint is the difference between a cabinet that survives the family or one that gets replaced when the kids grow up. A nailed butt joint with glue holds for a few years and then fails. The screws back out, the boards separate, the piece starts to wobble, the doors stop hanging right. You repair it for a while and then you bin it. A dovetail joint, properly cut, doesn't fail. Nothing about it is fashion. It's mechanical. Two pieces of wood that interlock in a way that resists pulling apart for as long as the wood itself holds. There's no glue carrying the load. The geometry does the work. That's why it's lasted as a joint for thousands of years across every culture that has built furniture. It works. It wasn't abandoned because something better came along. It was abandoned because faster was cheaper. That's the entire reason. Here's what I see when a client invests in a piece of joinery without insisting on the joints. They pay premium money for a piece that's been held together with hardware store assembly. The fronts look beautiful, the veneer is right, the proportions are right, the hardware is right, but the MDF carcass is screws and glue. In 10 years, that piece looks worn out, not from use, from construction. This isn't what residential investment is for. I keep coming back to a simple test. Is this piece going to outlast the family living with it, or will it be on the curb in 8 years? If it's going to outlast them, the joint is doing the work. The finish doesn't carry the piece, the hardware doesn't carry the piece, the joints carry the piece. And the same logic applies to construction joinery on a much bigger scale. The way that doors are hung, the way paneling is fixed to the walls, the way skirting meets the floor. There are right ways to do each of these that have existed for centuries, and there are shortcut versions that hold for a while and then start to fail. I see the shortcut versions everywhere, on expensive projects and houses where the family has paid 8 figures for the build. And 5 years in, the paneling is moving in its frame, the door is dragging on its hinge. The skirting has a hairline gap that wasn't there at handover. None of this is the trade's fault as people. The standard has just slipped. Nobody asked for the right joint, so nobody offers it. The market trains itself to deliver what gets specified. And what gets specified now is fast and looks right. So I ask for the joint. I bring the drawing, I bring the reference, and I bring the patience to walk through it with a team that hasn't been asked to do this in a very long time, as well as the willingness to wait the extra week that it takes, because the joint is what the work is for. The rest is finish. Sometimes what I'm pushing back on isn't even a joint at all. It's something smaller, a 1 mm or 2 mm gap at a biscuit joined shelf where it meets the bookcase upright is just the gap. It's the joint sitting in its place. It's not a problem to solve, but the standard instinct for workshops here is to fill it with silicone before anyone notices. So I tell them no every single time. And I watch for it on site, or it happens by default. The gap is the gap. Leave it. When you walk into a house that I've worked on after 15 years, the cabinet is still square. The drawer still slides right. The paneling still sits flush. You won't know why, because the joints are inside the work. You don't see them. You just feel that the room is still right, that the piece is still doing its job. That's what I'm trying to put back in this market. One project at a time. Not because it's my personal style, because it's the part of the work that lasts. So, bring back the joints.